Irresponsible, One Last Fling by Travis L. Martin. Present day. It's 6 a.m. Friday morning, and the sounds of an alarm clock awaken the 29-year-old successful Clark graduate Devin Smart. Simultaneously, his lovely 30-year-old fiancé, Yvette Johnson, rolls over to kiss him. Yvette is also a successful Clark graduate with a very bright personality. They briefly discuss their 2-year ongoing wedding plans as they routinely prepare for work in a beautiful suburban Atlanta condo. Devin has a youthful spirit and has been putting off marriage and kids for a few years. He has a bachelor's in computer science and a master's in accounting. He has ambitions to develop video game software, which warrants lots of time away from home with trade shows and competitions. But Yvette is more than ready to settle down. After wishing each other a wonderful day, they leave for work in separate vehicles. Normally they would travel together in Yvette's Rover, but it's Friday, and Devin usually meets his boys after work at their favorite watering hole, the Blue Flame, a strip club that Yvette knows of but has no knowledge of Devin's frequent visits. While driving to work, the naturally funny 5'5" Devin is bumping his favorite Kendrick Lamar track when Todd calls, Devin's local college buddy. Todd is a struggling musician that still lives at home with his mother. After an animated greeting with Todd, Devin shares excitement about the satisfying direction his life is going in, career, health, and freedom. Then he briefly speaks about his hesitations on marriage and how he's only doing it for Yvette. Devin feels as if he's giving up his freedom of hanging out with the guys, being irresponsible and free from any daddy duties. Todd tells Devin that he needs to sow his wild oats, then afterwards get married to Yvette. Devin agrees by clearly stating that he hasn't had the enjoyment of exploring any other women because he and Yvette have been together since his junior year in high school. They attended the same university, graduated together, then moved in together. Devin is a banker at a prominent branch in downtown Atlanta. Yvette is a focused, up-and-coming prosecutor at the state attorney's office. Today is a very special Friday for Devin because shortly after arriving to work, he receives a huge commission, $103,000, for closing an international banking deal. He makes phone calls to all of his buddies, and he suggests that they do things on a larger scale tonight to celebrate his success at work. They start out early, 6:30 to 7 p.m., having drinks and getting primed up at their usual spot, the Blue Flame. But only after Devin stops by the jewelry store, located in the downstairs lobby of his bank building. He purchases a celebratory $10,000 wristwatch. Then he spends 30 minutes boasting and gloating over the watch with his buddies. While having drinks, the conversation is geared towards the hottest women on TV and the type of guys that tie the knot with one woman without first experiencing different flavors of sex with other women. Devin takes one last shot of tequila and shouts out to his boys, "That's it. I'm going to do it. We're going to the best nightclub in the city, and I'm going to have one last fling." All of his boys, Todd, Darius, and Mike, cheer him on with high fives and fist bumps. Darius is from Chicago and has a job as a compliance officer. He and Devin met in graduate school. Mike is Todd's cousin, and he has his own food truck that he posts in downtown Atlanta. Todd works with Mike when he's not traveling with a band. They all have the same immature outlook on marriage. They only believe in being married after experiencing a variety of women. Hours later, around 11 p.m., they arrive at an A-list nightclub called Drift, with the intention of meeting hot chicks who don't mind having fling-type relationships. As the guys are drinking and probing through the crowd of grown and sexy women, a 5'9" model-type diva, Destiny, arrives in valet, driving a new Porsche Panamera. She appears to be over 6 feet tall in heels as she steps out of the Porsche in a designer spaghetti-strap black dress. She is greeted by the stares of every car hop working the valet. Destiny gracefully enters the club with the confidence of a runway model. Devin notices her as she approaches the bar with her eyes on the bartender and her index finger held up as if to say, "I will have my usual." She's a real head-turner and eventually makes her way over to the VIP section next to Devin and his buddies. Now, at this point, Devin is captivated and drunk with swagger, so he wastes no time with joining her for a drink. Destiny is draped in fine jewels and apparel. She has an eye for expensive pieces and notices the new watch that Devon sports like a trophy. Her laid-back, cool demeanor pushes Devon to become even more captivated. After spending a couple of hours drinking and dancing with Destiny, Devon is fooled into thinking that he has swept her off her feet. He gets a bit overconfident. What he doesn't realize is that things are actually just the opposite. Destiny is a professional sneak thief who lures well-to-do businessmen into her unforgiving web of lies. Then she strips them of all their cash and credit and whatever else she can get. Eventually, the club night ends with Destiny and Devon retrieving their vehicles from valet. Devon can't help but to notice Destiny's new Porsche, and he becomes even more elated about tonight's good-looking catch. Devon is in disbelief, and he's trying hard to hold back excitement. Destiny also manages to get a peek at Devon's new Ferrari, and she feels a sneaky reassurance that she has bagged another sucker. Devon follows Destiny to her so-called palace in the hills for a nightcap. After arriving to this huge house, they commence to having hot and sticky sex that sends them both into a drunken slumber. The next day is a bright and sunny Saturday morning. It's around 10 a.m. when Devon is still knocked out, but then forced awake by a house full of loud barking small dogs, along with a non-stop ringing doorbell. Destiny is nowhere to be found. Devon finally answers the door to find a repo company taking the Porsche that Destiny was driving. There's also an agent there serving eviction papers to Devon as he stands in the doorway, speechless, trying to figure out what the hell is going on. He notices that his car is missing. Onlooking neighbors are recording the entire scene of confusion live on Facebook. The video goes viral 10 minutes after Devon slams the door. He searches the house in a bumbling panic. Devon reluctantly realizes the seriousness of his situation when he fails to locate his keys and wallet. Minutes later, Devon's phone is ringing from under the bed. His fiancée Yvette is calling because her BFF Monica, Yvette's shit-talking sorority sister who's married with children, just sent video footage of Devon. This is all so delightful for Monica. She's been Yvette's BFF as long as Devon has been Yvette's boyfriend, and needless to say, they can't stand to be in the same room together. Monica also attended high school and college with Yvette. She feels that her best friend Yvette could have and should have been married with kids at this point in her life. Now she blames Devon for stalling Yvette's motherhood and married life. For this, Monica and Devon are stuck in a lifelong feud that's compromised of insultingly facetious comments whenever possible. Now that everyone has seen Devon shirtless, appearing hungover and confused in the doorway of a strange house, all bets are off with the engagement. Yvette is steaming with embarrassment, and she kicks Devon out of their condo. He moves in with Todd in his mom's basement and has to humbly look to his boys for help. Destiny almost instantly wipes out all of his accounts and his credit cards. Devon becomes totally fixated on finding Destiny and getting his life back. He has desperate hopes of bringing her to justice and to sue her for anything that he can reclaim in court. He spends the next few months searching for Destiny on social media sites. He finds a story about a guy named Chris who describes a sexy model that robbed him blind. After contacting this guy, Chris, a commercial real estate agent, Devon learns that Chris met Destiny in a nightclub, then dated her for 2 weeks before she robbed him. Devon is sure that they're looking for the same woman. They're fast to team up with 2 more guys via social media, Bernard, a plastic surgeon, and Jacob, a computer programmer, who are claiming to be victims of the same sneak thief. Destiny took Bernard's Porsche, and now she has Devon's Ferrari. Months later, by monitoring all of the national news circuits, the guys discover Destiny's location. They hear about a story in Vegas with multiple reports of poker players claiming that their room safes were cleaned out after winning tournament money. Devon and the guys figure out that Destiny has been casino hopping in pursuit of the buy-in cash needed for the WPT tournament coming up in a few days at the Aria Casino in Las Vegas. Jacob comes up with a plot to grab her from the tournament by following her up to her room, where they would tie her up and threaten to expose her to the world. The guys really just want to get whatever loot she has stashed before turning her over to the authorities. Devin and the guys clear their schedules, then they all book flights for Las Vegas. All the guys have a role to play, but the funny, fast-talking, extra-driven Devin is self-elected to pursue Destiny up close in person. He has this vengeful obsession that he isn't sharing with his crew. What he really wants to do is to fool Destiny just as bad or worse than she fooled him. Devin and Bernard secretly work on a disguise for Devin to get close to Destiny. They agree that she will definitely remember his unique 5'5" height, so they come up with a pair of special-made boots that will add another 6 inches to his stature. The boots are designed with an extra lift inside the sole. They also realize that his complexion has to change. Being that Bernard is a plastic surgeon, he designs a silicone mask and hands with a light skin tone. Jacob provides Devin with the necessary fake ID that identifies him as Donovan Jordan, a 6-foot-tall, light-skinned, rich stud with a head full of good hair. The complete opposite of his dark skin, low haircut, and 5'5" frame. Devin is anxious and focused on sweet-talking Destiny into a vulnerable state of relaxation like she did him, then attempt to take her for all of her valuables. Devin and the guys scrape up whatever funds Destiny didn't get her hands on. They managed to come up with the $10,000 WPT World Poker Tour buy-in fee. All of the guys arrive in Las Vegas understanding their roles in this ridiculous plan. Devin is to play cards and gamble his way to the same table as Destiny with the hopes of getting a seat next to her. They soon find it to be more difficult than anticipated. He isn't able to get next to her, but instead he almost blows his cover twice by forgetting to lower the pitch of his unique voice while in disguise. Devin gets a chance to bump into Destiny on the first day of tournament play. While on a 15-minute poker break, Devin spots Destiny checking him out as he waits in line at the casino cafe. He gains confidence in his disguise, a disguise in which his crew couldn't anticipate. He fooled them all when he first appeared as Donovan Jordan, the merchandising executive and former NCAA All-American point guard. The unrecognizable Devin stands next to his crew at a casino bar. Devin is suited in the finest menswear while in disguise. Chris and Jacob are in disbelief from the quality of the disguise. Bernard is the only one who sees it coming, but no one sees Destiny's personal bodyguard discreetly overseeing all suspicious behavior. Devin is on a mission to satisfy his vengeful thirst, but he's fumbling and stumbling his way through it. Yet during the process, Devin is catching unbelievable cards. Then he surprisingly wins his way to the final table, where he joins the always scheming, wheeling and dealing sneak thief Destiny Monroe. Her chip stack is almost as big as Devin's. His crew are all spread throughout the perimeter of the tournament, wearing communication earpieces, provided by Jacob. They watch closely as the whole thing plays out. There's a twist in their plot when Yvette, still in Atlanta, discovers Devin's plan to go after Destiny. Being a prosecutor, Yvette knows the dangers of taking the law into your own hands. She reaches out to a few law enforcement contacts, then her and Monica catch the next flight to Vegas. Meanwhile, on the final table at the WPT, a nervous Devin, disguised as Donovan Jordan, gets caught in a few heads-up poker hands with Destiny. This opens the door for them to exchange words for the first time since their first encounter months ago. Destiny suspects nothing of the flirting and challenging remarks that come with Donovan Jordan's smooth charm. Devin is struggling with pulling this whole thing off because his disguise is the complete opposite of his real self. All of the pressure puts a strain on Devin. It seems like he can't catch a break since cheating on Yvette back in Atlanta. Then the magic happens. The following day is the third night of the poker tournament, and Devin manages to win his first ever WPT tournament for $2.5 million. He can't believe it, and he's out of control, nearly tripping over his own feet from celebrating too much while in disguise. Next, he realizes that he won the WPT as Donovan Jordan, and he won't be embracing the credit for winning as Devin Smart. Destiny is the runner-up with a victorious table share of $485,000. Then, suddenly, The mood shifts into a reversal of pursuit. The smell of money sends Destiny into an elevated predatory mode. Instead of Devon going through with his plan to pursue Destiny to her room, she's now pursuing him as Donovan Jordan. She basically shows some obvious attraction towards Donovan Jordan. They end up in Devon's room, where he quickly formulates any and every excuse to go to her room, where he's sure there's a stash of loot. He figures at the least he could possibly find his $10,000 watch and Ferrari key. He's hell-bent on taking back his belongings. Meanwhile, the other guys are being watched and followed by Destiny's bodyguard, a 7-foot giant in a suit. The guys aren't as sharp as they would like to be. They're one step behind, and they get fooled into thinking that they're following the bodyguard, when in fact, the big guy lures them into the parking garage, where he corners them into a van and ties them up. Devon remains in disguise, but now in Destiny's room, nervously trying to seduce her with small talk and neck kisses. He's just about to pin her down and cuff her to the bed, then Destiny jumps up to make them both a drink, while spiking Devon's drink in the process. At this point, she's ready to knock him out and get on with the business of relieving Donovan Jordan of his $2.5 million poker winnings. Devon knows not to trust her, and he finds a way to pour his drink out. He and Destiny get back to the notion of making out. Things become a little aggressive as Destiny claws at Donovan's shirt, and then he intently falls off the bed while trying to stay in disguise. She manages to tear open his shirt, and he loses one of his special-made shoes. He appears defeated and ready to give in as he rises up off the floor and stands in front of Destiny with a ripped shirt, revealing his real skin tone. Devon is looking like a clown, with one long leg and one short leg. Destiny is in the act of calling her ever-present bodyguard into the room, while simultaneously some good detective work lands Yvette and Monica in the hallway outside of Destiny's room, where they encounter the 7-foot giant. He has to open the door in order to answer Destiny's call. After some quick small talk, Yvette and Monica rush in behind him and can't believe what they see. Everything goes from an intense 100-degree fiasco to a 400-degree nerve-wracking calamity. Devon screams out to the bodyguard, "Shamu!" He quickly kicks off his other special-made shoe and tears away most of his light-skin mask. Then the bodyguard responds, "Devon?" To nobody's belief, Devon and Shamu are fraternity brothers from Clark University's Omega Psi-Phi. They both greet each other with traditional frat-like antics, while they're trying to ask each other, "What the fuck is going on?" Destiny, Monica, and Yvette are having their own sisters' reunion moment. It turns out that Yvette, Monica, and Destiny are sorority sisters. They greet each other with a bit of uncontrollable sisterhood. They kill the scene with some crazy Delta Sigma Theta foot stomps, hand claps, and loud whoop cries that leave Devon and Shamu feeling completely outdone. For a minute, everybody gets lost in astonishment. Destiny's real name is Sabrina Matthews. Sabrina, Monica, and Yvette pledged on the sorority line together while at Clark University. They all were very close while in college, but then Sabrina grew apart and lost contact with everyone shortly after graduation. An abusive relationship led Sabrina to have a horrible outlook on men, which is obviously why she chooses to target the riches of successful men. Devon is frustrated and clueless to the degree of everything. He appears confused and hilariously disheveled. Monica yells out, "Oh, hell no, he didn't!" and shows no mercy as she takes this opportunity to rip into Devon's soul with some heavy-hitting insults and short man jokes, sprinkled with some light-skin humor because of Devon's disguise. Yvette, Monica, and Sabrina, Destiny, exchange a short, humorous dialect about Devon's circumstantial gibberish. Then 4 Las Vegas sheriff deputies enter the room to arrest Destiny. This is all arranged by the ever-resourceful Yvette, before knowing who Destiny actually was. Devon is completely embarrassed to know that his ex-fiancé gets the reward of rescuing him from a bad situation, and now he won't get the chance to receive the full vindication that he planned for. Yvette reminds Devon how he got himself into all of this by cheating. "All because you wanted one last fling, huh?" she says to the half-dressed, two-toned Devon. Then Monica echoes Yvette with a, "Yeah, punk!" Now he's wondering, how'd Yvette hear about the fling talk? Yvette and Devon have a moment. Destiny and Shamu is taken away. The other guys eventually make it out of the van by hotel security guards that observed them being forced into the van earlier. The sheriff's department confiscates the stolen goods, fake IDs, jewelry, diamonds, expensive watches, and Destiny's poker winnings. Months later, back in Atlanta, Devon, along with Todd and all of the guys, are waiting in the courthouse hallway. They all agreed to join together to prosecute Destiny as a group. Yvette shows up prepared to help prosecute Sabrina Matthews, a.k.a. Destiny, but she's torn between having to prosecute her sorority sister and the same woman who is Destiny Monroe that sexed and robbed her fiancé. Devon is first to take the witness stand and testifies to Sabrina's criminal activity. Devon says, "Apparently she's been doing this for years, Your Honor." He's slightly perturbed when Yvette's prosecution team hits him with questions about what actually happened with him and Sabrina, a.k.a. Destiny, on that sex-driven night in question. Sabrina's defense team argues that their client acquires cash and jewels from the men that she actively dates and that she never forcefully takes anything from anyone. Their stance is that Sabrina borrows cars from the men that she dates. Devon shouts out, "I never dated her." Then something strange happens. Yvette stands up and motions that the state drop all charges. She goes on to say that the victims in this case aren't really victims. She explains that these men are all married or engaged, and they broke moral laws to cheat on their spouses. Yvette thinks that it's only fair if the men learn a lesson from this. The presiding female judge, which happens to also be a Delta Sigma Theta, agrees with Yvette. Devon and the guys are shocked. They respond with juvenile outbursts and protest. Monica bursts out with hilarious laughter as she points at Devon and formulates her hands to wiping her eyes as if she were a crying baby. The guys didn't notice her sitting quietly in the back row in support of Yvette, but even more so to insult Devon at any opportunity. The judge slams the mallet and court adjourns, with the state keeping all of the confiscated loot. Devon gets his Ferrari back, but not his watch. Sabrina is ordered back to Vegas to face a slew of charges and accusations. Devon is still pondering on the $2.5 million poker winnings being held in Vegas. He also has to go back to Vegas and prove that he entered the tournament in disguise, only to capture the woman who was robbing hotel guests. Then maybe the Clark County courts will return his winnings. He plans to split the money between his fellow so-called victims, Bernard, Chris, and Jacob. The following year brings all of the guys closer to their spouses. Now they all share the same family-oriented outlook. They vow to turn their households into simple, happy lives, while Yvette grows in her career and is in complete control of her house. Sabrina Matthews is sentenced to a 1-year jail time, 5 years of probation, and 1,000 hours of community service for impersonating. Devon gets back into the flow of success at work, while life at home is hilariously ironic. On a daily basis, Devon is now constantly begging Yvette to marry him. Yvette loves Devon with all her heart, but she's enjoying every minute of it, so she keeps him on edge and unstable for months by not giving him a definite marriage date. Yvette jokingly tells Devon, "You made me wait, now you can wait," as she gives him a teasingly passionate kiss. This story ends on a beautiful Sunday afternoon in Atlanta. Yvette requires that they never miss church on Sundays. This Sunday is a special Sunday. As service is wrapping up and about to end, the pastor announces that there's a visitor in the building, someone who just arrived home and wants to sing the closing selection of the day, "God's Trying to Tell Me Something." Everyone stands up and claps with anticipation. To everyone's surprise, Sabrina Matthews, a.k.a. Destiny Monroe, walks out with the mic. She graciously thanks God for changing her life and for giving her the strength to start over. After a heartfelt moment throughout the church, the music starts, the choir joins in, and the church erupts with excitement and participation. Afterwards, Devon and Yvette are in the parking lot walking to their car when Devon starts with his new normal mumbling. It's always about the same old chatter these days, how he's ready to be married, have some kids, and settle down. Yvette is draped in her Sunday's best with hat and sunglasses. She smiles and chuckles at Devon's statements. Then, from outside of their Mercedes-Benz, she stares across the top of the car at Devon. Then she says, "I think I want to have one last fling." She cracks a devilish smile as she gets into the car. Devon's jaw drops in response to Yvette's comment. He pauses in thought as if he's having an epiphany, but then he continues to rattle on and complain. Yvette drops the convertible as they drive off on a sun-baked country road amid a humid southern breeze saturating the air with the sweet essence of peach nectar. The end of Part 1.